My high school guidance counselor told me that politics wasn't a career, it was a hobby. We were sitting in a staff meeting, and I leaned over to one of the male colleagues, and I said, well, we should do blah, blah, blah. The next thing I knew is it came out of his mouth as his idea, and I said to myself at that very moment, I will never do that again. Women believe that they need to be perfect all the time. We talk about when it's okay to be good and when you have to ramp it up to be perfect. And sometimes we think of taking risk as failing and that failing is bad. For me, I found failure to be an opportunity to learn. If you can see it in your head and if you can believe it, you can make it happen.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Own Your Brand Show. I'm your girl, Victoria Odekomaya, and today I'm very excited because we're talking to a very special guest who has done it all, from the White House to Indiana politics, to working in a male-dominated industrial area, and then now on a mission to help other women, really find their voice and lead. This woman has done it all, and I cannot wait for us to dive into it and share our experience and some takeaway on how we can also build our leadership skills and really speak up and own our voice. So without much ado, let's get into it. Hi, how are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you have done it all. Like your bio, I was reading, I was like, oh my goodness, you are the president and the CEO of Hathaway Strategist. You have worked as the RNC National Committee Women for Indiana and on various boards. You have served as you currently serve as the executive director of Richard G. Lugar's Excellence in Public Service series, and you are on a mission to train nearly 700. Actually, you are training nearly 700 women. Usual women in public service. Mm-hmm. That is huge.
One day at a time, one thing at a time, just trying to make a difference.
Yeah, and you are making a difference. I remember when we first met, and I have to say that I got the privilege to photograph you for the NALBO edition of the Boss Ladies magazine, and I just remember thinking, oh my God, I'm photographing Anne. Like before I even met you, like I've heard so much about you, and just the fact that you're making such huge impact, not only locally, but nationally, I think that's huge. And so thank you for letting me photograph you and also letting me be, like you were like so real and human, because I'm sorry, because I come from a culture where people in politics or leadership are so hard, and there's no connection with them. And I was like, oh my God, like I get to photograph us. So that was really special.
You made me look really good that day. The photos were beautiful. So thank you for that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm from a little bitty town in Illinois. My hometown had about 2,500 people. And it was a community where you just, pulled up your britches and went and did whatever needed to be done. People pitched in, made it happen. I went to a small high school. I think there were 77 or 78 in my high school graduating class. Wow. A lot of us had gone to school, kindergarten through senior year together. Mm-hmm. So I was really blessed to be in a community where I had the opportunity to try lots of things, get really involved in a lot of different things, learn things, and it's carried over into my adult life.
Yeah, I can tell like you're such a do-it person, very action. You're not a talker, you're a doer.
Yeah, I was actually just in a meeting with a client, and he said I had to drop in because I have this problem and I need it fixed, and you're the fixer.
Yeah.
And so I tend to identify things, try to make a difference, fix them, find solutions. It's a lot some days.
Yeah, I bet. So, but like, I know you worked in the White House, very male-dominated industries. The whole maybe just ask the question: how did you even get those types of opportunities?
Sure. I went to college as an interior design major, but always had a passion for politics. My high school guidance counselor told me that politics wasn't a career, it was a hobby. So I had my design
Look at me now.
Right, exactly. I had my design background always to fall back on, but I volunteered on a campaign and I got hired. My first job was as a yard sign coordinator. I put together yard signs in a barn.
Wow.
and helped get out the vote. And that led to another campaign opportunity. And then 5 of us got in a car and we drove to Washington, D.C. We went to a leadership school that was 2 days long, and that helped to pivot me into an opportunity in Washington, D.C. I was very young. I was about 21, 22, and I wanted to go to Washington, D.C., but I didn't know that I wanted to go there forever, or I just wanted to go and I wanted to experience it. I wanted to learn in Washington, D.C. It really intrigued me, and so I did. And I was very lucky that one job led to another job that led to another job. My first job was at the U.S. Treasury Department as a GS4 clerk typist, not making very much money and being someone's assistant. That led me to another job as an assistant. If you're the first one in, the last one out, and you do your job really well, and you don't, whatever comes your way, you do it, it provides opportunities to show your skills, to show your willingness to lean in, and that provided me the opportunity to grow, to go through the ladder in Washington, D.C., and I wound up being sent when James A. Baker III became campaign manager for George Herbert Walker Bush. Basically, 8 of us got called out of the Treasury Department to go over to the campaign. I became a scheduler for the vice presidential nominee, who became the and then they needed someone to do the second lady, which was Marilyn Quayle. I volunteered, got the job. We won the election, and I got to work at the White House for 4 years.
Oh my God, that is so cool. So during this time, and when you started working at the White House, what were the people saying in Illinois, like like a small town now? How was that like?
I think that it was very surreal. I remember going back to my class reunion, and it was in August, and I'd been in the job for a bit, and one of the guys in my class said, "Well, does the vice president know your name?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's my boss." And so it was weird for them to think that this person that they see on TV knew my name and that I was working in the White House in Washington, D.C. But I think that one of the reasons I did that job so well is that in a small town, you treat everyone the same. Yeah. You're very respectful, you're neighbors, and you're taking care of each other. And Vice President Quayle used to say that I told him what he needed to hear, not what he wanted to hear. And again, I went into work early, I stayed late, I worked hard, which really provided me the opportunity to be a valuable member of the team.
That is so cool. Wow. So, like in politics, it's mostly men. Like what are some of the challenges that you faced in that job?
I have one example. I remember I was assistant to the vice president and director of scheduling and public liaison for the vice president. And we were sitting in a staff meeting in the old executive office building around the table. There was one other woman in the room, and she was Mrs. Quayle's chief of staff. And we were having a discussion about something, and I leaned over to one of the male colleagues, and I said, "Well, we should do blah, blah, blah." The next thing I knew is it came out of his mouth as his idea. And I said to myself at that very moment, I will never do that again. I will offer my voice and my idea, and if it's dumb and it's wrong, I would rather own that than have somebody else misrepresent one of my ideas.
Yeah, that is
so. And I don't think it was meant to be vindictive or evil. I think he thought he was tossing it into the conversation, but I should have been bolder, and I think that emboldened me to really find my voice, and to take more risk. And sometimes we think of taking risk as failing, and that failing is bad. For me, I found failure to be an opportunity to learn. So, for example, when I've run political campaigns, obviously on election day, there's a winner or a loser.
Sure.
When you win, you pivot because you've got to get your person into office and you've got to get them up to speed and you've got to build out the staff, and there are things to do. When you lose, you immediately go home. and you clean out your desk and you try to figure out what's next. But it also gives you time to think about that campaign and what would I do different? How did I think, and should I have done this instead of that? And so I think that sometimes losing, or what we call failing, has provided me the most and maybe the best opportunity to think about things and to learn from them, to be able to do them differently next time.
Okay, so you talk about failing, but I don't know how many times you've actually failed. Because, I mean, like, we hear of all the amazing things, like you planned the nomination, the convention,
Yep.
and even here locally as well. So give us an example of what you're talking about in terms of failure here.
I think that I think it always looks good from the outside, that people perceive that life is easy, and they don't know about the challenges we all go through.
Yeah.
As I've mentioned, I've lost campaigns.
Yeah.
I've had my job eliminated where I thought I was doing a good job and it was eliminated. And the next thing I know, I have to go find a new job. And that kind of rocks your confidence. I lost my parents 75 days apart. And for 1 year, I drove back and forth from Indianapolis to my little hometown to be there because I didn't want to wish I would have. As you, I think, are aware, I'm a cancer survivor, and that rocked my confidence. And it was, I had great doctor and great nurses, great friends and family who encouraged me. But it was a chapter that was difficult, and I don't know if they're failures as much as they're obstacles to overcome, and things that help us to build our ability to tackle the next big thing.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when it's easy, I'm sure you do this, we go like, okay, I did that. What's
Right.
next?
Yes.
Okay, what's next?
Yeah.
And while, I was lucky enough to be chairman of the Republican National Convention, we had a great team. We got together early. It was a great team. There was a phenomenal executive director who was there making sure to execute the strategy. But we set goals, just like you do in business, just like you do in a political campaign. We had 4 goals, and at the end, we achieved all those 4 goals. And one of them was to do the best convention ever. And according to the media, we were.
Yes, absolutely. So let's bring it back to Indiana right now. So you're right now training 700 women. What does that mean for you, and why even?
Sure. I'm the executive director of the Richard G. Lugar Excellence in Public Service Series, which is a GOP political, it's a training program where it's competitive to get in. We usually have 30 to 50 applicants each year. We go through a screening and interview process for those who really want to engage, whether it be as an elected official, on a board or a commission, as a campaign manager, whether it be at the federal, state, local level. We're trying to help put tools in their toolkit in order to know where and how to engage. Right. And so this will be our 36th year. Wow. I've been lucky to be around for at least 15 of those years. But helping women to overcome the no's, the doubts, the not willingness to take risk. Women believe that they need to be perfect, and all the time.
Yes.
So we talk about when it's okay to be good and when you have to ramp it up to be perfect, how to find that balance. A lot of times when I've been in the position to recruit candidates for office. If I go talk to a man about being a candidate, he leans in and says, "Where do I sign up?" When I say to a woman, "You should think about running," she backs up and says, "I have to go home and ask my husband, well, who is going to take care of my children? How am I going to take care of childcare?"
Right.
And there are 25 reasons. And usually the one you hear most is, "I don't know enough." We don't, as a candidate, you don't have to know everything about everything.
Oh, wow.
You have to be curious, and you have to learn, and you have to be a problem solver, which most women are.
Yeah, naturally.
And so trying to encourage them to think about their role differently, to make them comfortable. We have someone come in and coach public speaking. We have a number of speakers that come in and talk process. I also identify role models, women who are role models, who the class thinks are perfect, that they've had it easy, or that's been, oh, I want to be her. Well, I have them come in and tell their stories. And their stories are never straight lines. Yeah. They're roller coasters, they're ups and downs. And so when a woman can envision, well, I could do that. And well, if she's had those struggles and I've had those struggles, it becomes more realistic.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to me how many women have gone on to run, to engage. And it's been a life changer for some.
I bet. I was going to say, like, if you had any, people that are coming back to share. I mean, I'm sure that even you see the results in public because they're taking on these opportunities and these roles too. So how does that make you feel in terms of like seeing the fruits of your labor? Not only just in the political realm, but also seeing that women are finally taking the stand, and saying, yeah, I'm going to do this. Like, that must feel really great,
It does. I have my proud mama moments where I watch and I'm really gratified by the success. And I think one of the things that keeps me going, that it's not about me.
Yeah.
I'm humble enough to be a part of their journeys, their stories, their lives, but really the focus is on creating more women leaders. Yeah. And so when I see women helping other women, when I see, oftentimes the class project is women out campaigning for their colleague in the class, I get really excited. So often, you've heard the story of tripping the prom queen and women making it more difficult for other women. I really try to encourage women to take the target off of each other's back and to focus on moving the ball forward and finding solutions and making their community, their state, their country better according to what they believe in their values.
Yeah, that's so good. So majority of our listeners are entrepreneurs. And I know that a lot of the things that you stand for and you teach, it's transferable skills. So what word of advice or inspiration or encouragement can you give women entrepreneurs that are may or may not want to be in politics, but like some things that could just, get them going?
I think it goes back to taking risk. And if you can see it in your head and if you can believe it, you can make it happen. I mean, I've started my business with a credit card. I didn't know about investment dollars and capital campaigns for entrepreneurs at the time. I just took the risk to do it. And if I failed, I failed and I owned it. If I didn't, who knew what might happen? Right. I also think that we make things really complicated oftentimes, and sometimes it doesn't need to be as complicated as we get it in our heads. I'm a very linear thinker, so I think about the goal and think about it backwards and then replay it forwards and try to continue to move the ball forward. Now, sometimes, and you know this, sometimes it's not a straight line.
Right.
Sometimes in order to achieve the goal, you got to go right, left, over, under until you figure out how to get there. But my counsel to women is to just go for it.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you so much. So we didn't quite talk about your business, but would you like to tell us a little bit more?
Sure. We're a strategic government affairs, public affairs consulting firm. And as I probably said at the beginning, we fix things.
Yes.
People come to us and they want to know how to talk to the government, how to fix things. They want a strategic plan on how to be progressive with their business, with a particular issue. We're very experienced in advocacy campaigns where we help to engage constituents, the public, being for or against issues depending on what our client seeks to accomplish.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun to chat.
Yes, absolutely. So you've got it. We're going to put the links to all of that in here. If you're interested in it's a competitive program, but I think you should still, submit an application if you're interested in politics or want to learn a little bit more about it. I know we talked about it when we were doing your photo shoot. The takeaway here is that never give up on yourself and continue to take risk. Until next time, take care.